I'm a 28-year-old guy with a twin brother. Growing up, we were practically glued at the hip, despite our differences. I was the introverted, bookish type, while he was the outgoing athlete, always in the spotlight. Still, we chose to spend nearly all our time together. After high school, our paths diverged. He stayed in Arizona for college, while I moved to Portland. I ended up staying in Portland after graduation because I loved the city, had built a solid friend group, and had professional connections from internships. Still, I made it a point to fly back to Arizona for holidays, birthdays, and family events. When my brother announced his engagement to his girlfriend of 3 years on social media, I was thrilled for him. I sent him a congratulatory text, and he mentioned they'd be throwing an engagement party in about 6 to 8 weeks. I asked him to let me know the date so I could book a flight, but that date never came. Every time I asked him or anyone else in the family about it, they dodged the question or say the plans were still up in the air. A few weeks later, I texted my brother again, worried about last-minute flight costs, but got no reply. My mom told me it wasn't a big deal, just a small family dinner, nothing worth traveling for. Later, I found out the truth. They'd rented out a restaurant for 4 hours and hosted a massive party with around 80 guests, including family, friends, and extended relatives. Everyone was told I couldn't make it. My aunt, who's always been like a second mom to me, texted me expressing disappointment that I didn't show up. I told her I wasn't invited, and that's when the cracks started to show. Word got around about my exclusion, and my parents and brother brushed it off as a misunderstanding. That was over a year ago, and since then, I've tried to figure out why I was left out. Their excuses shifted over time. First, it was supposed to be a small gathering. Then it was a mix-up. Finally, they downplayed it as just a party, no big deal. I asked my brother if he was upset with me or if his fiancée had an issue with me, but he dodged those questions too. What hurt most was that my parents went along with it. This wasn't like them. Holidays like Christmas and Easter were tense, with everyone avoiding the topic and conversations feeling like awkward small talk. When I visited for my sister's birthday in May, I left early after she said, "You moved so far away. It's like you're not even part of the family anymore. You make everything weird." 9 months ago, I received a save-the-date for my brother's wedding, followed by a formal invitation 6 months ago. I wasn't asked to be in the wedding party, which didn't surprise me by then. My sister and younger brother were included, though, which felt like another slight. My sister got a +1 for her casual fling, but I wasn't given one for my girlfriend of over a year. I decided I wasn't truly welcome, just invited to keep up appearances. Instead of RSVPing no and starting drama, I didn't respond at all and chose not to attend the wedding, which happened last weekend. No one reached out about me missing the rehearsal dinner, so I assume I wasn't expected there either. About an hour before the ceremony, my phone started blowing up with calls and texts asking where I was, if my flight was delayed, or how close I was. I ignored them. After the ceremony, the calls resumed and I finally answered my mom. She yelled, "Where are you?" I calmly replied, "In Portland, where you all seem to want me to be." She called me out for embarrassing the family at my brother's wedding, and I shot back, "It's just a party, right? No big deal." For the first time ever, my mom was speechless. After a brief pause, I said, "Say hi to everyone for me," and hung up. Now I'm getting bombarded with messages accusing me of being petty and ruining the day. So am I the jerk here? I feel like I'm just mirroring their behavior and letting go of the effort I've been putting in. Update, July 21, 2025. Thanks to everyone who commented on my original post. I was overwhelmed by the responses and couldn't keep up with them all. I expected opinions to be split, as I know my actions were a bit spiteful. For those who missed it, the gist is that I was deliberately excluded from my twin brother's engagement party, left out of his wedding party, and after feeling pushed away for a year, I skipped his wedding. To those who said I was wrong, I get it. Not RSVPing was a cowardly move to avoid conflict, but I was in a place where I'd likely have given in to guilt if I'd said I wasn't coming. Part of me hoped they'd notice I hadn't responded and reach out to say they wanted me there. But as time passed, I grew angrier and more hurt, and I wanted to make a point that if they didn't want me around, I wouldn't force my presence. I had a long call with my aunt and cousin last night, and they shared some insights. It's partly speculation, but here's what we think happened. They believe my mom felt betrayed when I didn't move back to Arizona after college, despite me flying back monthly for family events, graduations, birthdays, and holidays. Apparently, she saw my choice to stay in Portland as me breaking up the family, and setting a bad example for my siblings by showing they could leave too. My aunt said my mom once complained that I was showing off my success by visiting so often, implying my frequent trips were me flaunting my income. Thanks to a lucky internship, a specialized master's degree, and a great mentor, I landed a job in a niche field with quick career growth. I'm not rich, but I've done well for myself. Some suggested my brother might be jealous of my career, but I doubt it. He earns less, but he loves his job, which is far more interesting than mine. My work isn't the kind you brag about at parties. I also used to help my family financially, paying for car repairs, helping with my parents' mortgage during my dad's unemployment, covering part of my brother's kitchen remodel, and even paying their internet and streaming bills until I canceled those payments last night. My aunt said my mom saw these gestures as me showing off, too, though they never refused the help. My aunt and cousin also revealed they'd overheard years of snide comments about me, starting with my mom after I stayed in Portland and later spreading to my siblings. They think my mom subtly turned them against me, resenting me for leaving and punishing me for it. Someone pointed out that a comment my mom made about my girlfriend, "Finally someone who can tolerate you," wasn't a joke but a dig. I see now how her passive-aggressive remarks over the years conditioned my siblings to view me negatively and me to accept it as normal. It also explains why I'm always the one initiating contact. They don't seem to want me around unless they need something. My cousin heard from another relative that my brother messed up by letting slip about the engagement party. The plan was to keep it from me entirely, tell everyone I couldn't make it, and hope I'd never find out. When I kept asking to come, it threw them off. Apparently, my immediate family has been badmouthing me to extended relatives, painting me as an annoying outsider who makes everyone miserable with my visits. So I'm done. I've blocked my immediate family on my phone and social media. No more financial help, no more frequent trips to Arizona to be disrespected. My aunt, who's never gotten along with my mom, said this has her fingerprints all over it. She's noticed my parents aren't the same people anymore. My aunt and cousin are the only family I'm keeping in touch with. My aunt even mentioned wanting to visit Portland for a camping trip, which would be great. They offered to set the record straight with extended family, but I told them not to bother. Those relatives have already bought the lies. My aunt is having my uncle talk to my dad to get his side, as he's never said anything negative about me. For now, I'm cutting off my immediate family and moving on. Thanks for helping me see how toxic they've been. Next story. I got emotional while cooking dinner because a song from a video game I recently finished hit me hard. When my girlfriend asked why I was upset, I lied and said it was from chopping onions. As a young adult during the pandemic, I got deep into gaming as a way to unwind and connect with friends. Recently, I started playing single-player games for fun. My girlfriend is amazing, down-to-earth, and always willing to understand me, despite my habit of hiding behind humor to avoid feeling vulnerable. She's worked hard to break through those walls over our 3-year relationship, but this incident sparked our biggest fight yet. I just finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth after playing the remake earlier this year. Without spoiling, the game's story gets heavy toward the end. I've never been one to cry at movies or books, so this caught me off guard. While cooking dinner, the game's Sector 7 theme, a slow, emotional track with strings, came on, and I started thinking about the characters and story. I got teary-eyed, which isn't like me. My girlfriend noticed and asked what was wrong. Feeling silly, I brushed it off, saying it was just the onions, shallots technically. But she could tell I was emotional and called me out when I kept sniffling. She got upset, assuming I was hiding something serious, like cheating. To avoid another lie, I admitted the game's story and music got to me. That made things worse. She accused me of being immature for getting emotional over a video game girl weeks after finishing the game, claiming I was fixating on a fictional character who looks like her, and that I saw as a better version of her. I explained that it wasn't about the character, but the powerful narrative and emotional music. I'd probably feel the same way hearing a sad song without the game's context. She wasn't convinced, and I ended up sleeping on the couch for 3 nights. I'm frustrated. She's punishing me for feeling something deeply for the first time, and I don't understand why it's a problem. I asked my mom for advice, even considering breaking up over this, but after explaining both sides, she sided with my girlfriend, calling me childish. My friends are teasing me about being into 2D girls, which isn't true. If you've played the game, you'd get it. Since no one in my circle plays single-player games, they don't understand. My girlfriend's friends are mocking me with anime waifu jokes, and I'm fed up. I love her, but this misunderstanding is tearing us apart. I've tried explaining my feelings and that she's blowing this out of proportion, but she's not listening. Should I end things over something this trivial? It feels ridiculous to let a fictional character ruin our relationship. Am I being immature? If I don't break up, how do I fix this? I just want honest advice, and I hope my girlfriend and her friends don't see this and make things worse. Comments with Ops replies. Comment 1. If I cried over a book, no one would judge me. Op, exactly. I don't see why a game's story is any different. Comment 2. Crying over a book is normal, but if I found my partner sobbing days later over one, I'd worry something else was going on. Your girlfriend's reaction was over the top, though. Op, that's probably what's freaking her out. I'm not usually emotional. I've maybe cried in front of her twice. She thinks something bigger is up, but I'm just experiencing this kind of thing for the first time. Comment 3. Your girlfriend jumped to the worst possible conclusion and mocked you with her friends. That's not what a supportive partner does. This isn't about the game, it's her behavior. Are you okay with that? Also, it's weird that no one in your circle gets that stories in games are like books or movies. Don't they feel things watching TV? Op, she doesn't have guy friends. She thinks men and women can't just be friends. One friend gets it and says I should show her games are as impactful as movies, but she's into anime and cosplay, so the group looks down on her. Update, July 20, 2025. I barely slept last night after 3 nights on the couch, fed up with how I've been treated. This morning, my girlfriend seemed different. She woke up early, invited me back to bed, and said we could talk later. I insisted we talk right away, as I couldn't rest with this weighing on me. She apologized immediately, saying she felt awful for treating me like I'd cheated, and admitting she acted immaturely out of fear that I was pulling away. I was still annoyed, but set it aside to say she'd been unfair. She didn't defend herself much and explained her change of heart. Since Wednesday, she'd been venting to her friends and family, including my mom, who's close to her. She shared details about the fake girl she thought I was fixated on. Her mom told her dad and younger brother, who's a gamer. He called her and explained that my reaction to Final Fantasy VII is common among fans because of its powerful story. While I was writing my last post, he was defending me, clarifying that the narrative, not a character, moved me. I wasn't sobbing, just teary with a few sniffles, not some meltdown like people assumed. My girlfriend started doubting herself and looked up the game online. The fan discussions validated my feelings, and she had a change of heart overnight. I asked if I'd done anything to make her insecure, as some suggested, but she said she was just anxious because several friends had been cheated on recently, and she worried I was growing distant as my romantic gestures became less frequent. We talked it out and realized I'm just getting more comfortable in the relationship, which she mistook for drifting apart. We agreed she'll communicate directly and treat me with more respect if she has concerns. She even said she's open to trying a game with me after reading about Final Fantasy VII. Thanks to everyone's game recommendations, too. Maybe we were all a bit harsh last night, but I'm relieved we worked it out. She brought me yellow flowers and takeout tonight, and I almost got emotional again. I'm happy to have my bed back and our relationship intact. Thanks for the advice.